are you guys working for the Chinese Communist Party now, or are you actually working for Americans,
Well,
right? Like,
I remember like when it first broke the news, they're saying, "Oh, we got to shut down travel to China," and then Trump's like, "Yeah, we need to shut down travel," and they flipped on
yeah,
a
they're like,
dime.
oh, he's a racist.
Yeah.
That's crazy, crazy, crazy. All right, Paul, why don't you take us to our next story here? Pull up the bookmarks.
Let's do it.
Let's dive in here.
So this is an interesting.
That was just kind of more. They actually put it on the White House website now that they think that the true origins of COVID, the lab leak. They got a picture of Trump on there. That's too funny. So yeah, they're actually putting it on the website, the government website now. They're like, hey, like, yeah, this probably came from a lab, right? Which many of us pretty much already knew. What do you got next? Oh yeah, play this clip here. So this is Kevin O'Leary talking on a podcast. Let's actually watch this live and react to it, because this kind of has to do with the tariffs and the trade war between China and the U.S. But I think he actually highlights a couple things that most people don't know. Most people think it's like just tariffs. Like, okay, why? It's there's really all these other barriers for American businesses and for Americans, where like we make all these exceptions for them, but then if our citizens want to go to their market, or if we want to have a business there, we want to do all these things. No. Like, it's rules for thee, but not for me. And I think that strikes at the heart of why the Trump administration and everybody in general are saying, hey, there's all these barriers here. It's a double standard. It's not reciprocal, right? I think reciprocity is the key. But let's watch this real quick and kind of see the take. I thought this was a good, insightful clip.
You said they don't comply. We have rules, laws, regulations about this. Why have we gone soft on all that?
Try and enforce them. Okay, you're a Chinese company, and you want to litigate a competitor in the United States. You can hire an American lawyer and sue the crap out of that American company. Try and do that in China. You don't have a reciprocal right to do that. You cannot do that in China. So my attitude is, okay, Chinese company, if you're a controlled Chinese company, controlled by the Chinese Communist Party, you can't use the American legal system, not until you give us reciprocal rights. I'm sorry, you're just shut off. Now, here's another one. If you go and look on the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange, there's $800 billion worth of market capitalization of Chinese companies that don't comply by American GAAP laws. I have to comply. I have to pay millions of dollars to actually comply with the rules of the SEC and all the other regulators. The Chinese guys don't, and they get to raise money. So when I'm trying to raise dollars, I'm competing with a Chinese company that doesn't even comply. I mean, how's that even legal?
Donald Trump's on your speed dial. Does he get this?
Yes, and the good news there is they just brought a new sheriff into town. He's just got approved. His name is Paul Atkins. He's the new head of the SEC, and he will finally make these companies comply. There's a law on the books that was brought out 4 years ago by Rick Scott, senator from Florida, that says if you're a Chinese company, you're not complying with GAAP, you have 36 months to comply. Then he tightened the law, made it 24 months. And if you don't comply, you're delisted. So I'm asking, and I went to the Hill last week, I said to Atkins, hey, are you going to enforce this law? Because I got no problem competing with any company that I have to play in the same level playing field with. And he said, yeah, we're going to start delisting these companies finally. And that Rick Scott sent him a letter he made public last week saying, hey, look, do your job, because if you don't, I'm going to make a lot of noise. And I think that's what Atkins is going to do.
If I could just give context, GAAP is the accounting standard that the U.S. country uses, and every company that's listed in the stock exchange needs to have audited financial statements yearly that are in compliance with GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles.
Right, but except unless you're Chinese. Apparently, if you're a Chinese company, you don't have to, right? You get to play by your own rules, right? Like, everyone else has got to play by the U.S. rules. But if you're a Chinese company and you want to be in the U.S. market, guess what? You don't have to play by the rules. And if we want to go over there and do business in China, we get nothing. It's like, hey, we're like subhuman almost, right? So, there's a huge barriers, huge difference here. So it's not only just tariffs. So any kind of deal, I know we talked like last time about IP law and different, IP rights, and, wherever you stand on the spectrum of what you think is right or wrong there, they are absolutely stealing trade secrets and kind of doing all these different things and, doing dishonest things. So, the reciprocity is key, right? Like even with social media platforms, like they can have TikTok and whatever, all these different platforms here historically, right? But if we want to have platforms in their market, no, right? Like they ban certain things and do all that. So reciprocity really is the key. And I think hopefully they do get a deal worked out that it makes things fair, puts things on an even playing field, I think. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, 150 years ago, we discovered the concept of predatory pricing, where companies were taking advantage by basically undercutting everyone else. And China is sort of bending the rules to their favor, leveraging a lot of things to their advantage to basically decimate, American industries. And so, I mean, I think Trump is trying to do the best he can to rein that in. I think we'll see how it plays out. I thought Craig had some really great points, both on sort of the tariffs and a little bit of the trade war going on earlier in the week. But yeah, I mean, the reality is China's been doing this for 30 years.
Yeah. I think both sides have some leverage, honestly. The more I look into it, the more I think about it. And I think, why not make a deal that is fair for everybody? That's the way I look at it.
Well, I mean, it's just everyone has to be trying to play the game in good faith. And I feel like that's in short supply nowadays. China obviously has been trying to manipulate everything. I'm not going to say U.S. companies have been doing the greatest either. Better than China. I'm not going to try and make that argument. But it's just everyone's trying to screw each other over and keep themselves up on top.
Yeah. All right, Paul, why don't you move us to the next segment? There we go. This is, God. Have you guys been following this Kilmar, Abrego guy, this MS-13 gang member?
Yeah, I've been following it. Not like super close, but yeah, I've kept my eye on it.
Seems like I just can't believe this is real. Like, this is like such a crazy hill to die on. Like, they're trying to die on this hill. It's like this guy literally is determined to be MS-13 by two different courts at two different points. His wife, now they've released, wrote a written letter about how he beat the shit out of her. I mean, so he beat her up and she wanted protective something. He's got, they found him on the side of with a van of 7 unidentified people in the back, and they just let him go. And then, he's with other MS-13 gang people.